The Lakers are reportedly going to fire coach Darvin Ham, perhaps as early as today. Walker Buehler will make his return to the Dodgers on Monday, and don't be surprised if the Kings keep both GM Rob Blake and ne'er-do-well Pierre-Luc Dubois. Hi, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is May 3rd, 2024. Welcome to the Sanctum Sanctorum of LA Sports. By the time you see this clip, I'm going to be on a plane heading to work in St. Louis. Sucks for me, but whatevs. Do you like being in the know about LA sports? Well, if you do, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. You need not comment about my thinning hair. I am perfectly aware. I'll hear you out anyway. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. There were no games involving LA teams yesterday, but today, pretty decent schedule. Atlanta is in town to play the Dodgers at 7. Gavin Stone is 2-1 with a 4.68 ERA. He'll face Charlie Morton, who's 2-0 with a 3.60 ERA. The Clippers are at Dallas at 6:30 with their season on the line. It is Game 6 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Dallas leads the best-of-7 series 3-2. And for the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard has already been ruled out with knee inflammation. Also, Angel City FC is at Utah at 6:30. It's first time Angel City heads to Salt Lake City, and I'm going to assume half the team will get marriage proposals all from one dude. Cultures, am I right? But what do you say we get to the news? Jovan Buehler, who covers the Lakers for The Athletic, went on a podcast and said the Lakers plan to fire coach Darvin Ham, quote, likely by the end of the week, unquote. Now, this statement was obviously picked up by the 3 billion Lakers blogs that are out there, and it created an echo chamber loud enough to drown out about 200 jet engines. Keep in mind, this report, this statement on a podcast, which was earlier this week and hasn't happened yet, it has not been verified by ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, the LA Times, or the LA Daily News. Buehler covered his tracks a little by saying the Lakers wanted to mull it over for 2 or 3 days before going public. Now, if that is true, I can only guess what went down. The Lakers conducted exit interviews pretty quickly after getting eliminated by Denver. That's very normal. General Manager Rob Pelinka, though, has yet to address the press with a season-ending press conference. That might lead to the speculation. Now, I would assume if this is true, if this report is true, that many of the players in these exit interviews were like saying, just fire the guy. Even simpler put, considering LeBron James's contract status, if he says fire the guy, trust me, the Lakers fire the guy. He wouldn't be the first coach killer in Laker history. Magic. As for who could replace Ham, who is 90 and 74 in his coaching tenure, Buehler said he heard, quote, some names from different people, unquote. Thank you for that little slice of nothing. Now, if Ham does get run, I don't think it solves a damn thing, as I've been talking about through the course of the week. The question that nobody has been able to answer for me is this. Who do you replace him with that's better? Anyone? And if there is a better coach available, would this so-called better coach want the gig? Consider, Frank Vogel won them a title. Fired 2 years later. He gets replaced by Ham. Ham gets the Lakers to the Western Conference Finals in his first year. And now he's supposedly going to be fired after year 2? The job makes the Gaza Strip look seriously stable by comparison, I'm telling you. But you let me know if you think this report is going to pass. If it does, in fact, happen, I'll have a special report. You ever think you've cleared out all the things on your to-do today list? You know? You handle all these tasks, you lie down with your wife, you hope to get lucky, then you look up at her and scream, "Oh crap!" because you forgot something. I bring this up because way after I posted yesterday's clip, I relaxed with my wife, I look at her and I scream, "Walker Buehler!" Which is odd because Walker Buehler is our safe word. Look, I didn't include yesterday, this is my fault, I did not include that Buehler was in fact summoned by the Dodgers to return to LA after missing 20 months due to a second Tommy John surgery. He will debut at Dodger Stadium against Miami on Monday. Now, back in 2020, Buehler was in a contract year and he was the presumed heir apparent to Clayton Kershaw as the Dodgers staff ace. And then, of course, his elbow went kablam. It's been a hell of a road back for the guy. Buehler was targeting a return last season, just in time for the playoffs. Didn't happen. Then he was supposed to be raring to go for this year, but he did not pitch a single inning in spring training. Now he takes more than a month in rehab. So when you throw that into the blender, what the Dodgers are getting is anyone's guess. His velocity is in the mid-90s. That's good, I guess. He struck out almost a hitter an inning. That's good. Dave Roberts is definitely saying all the happy talk that you would expect him to say. But Buehler struggled with his control at AAA. And you have to imagine that he's going to be on a strict innings limit. So it's not like he's going to go in there and just deal for 7 or 8. He might, for all we know, he might get pulled after 4. Now, the Dodgers could stand another alpha male in the rotation. Tyler Glasnow and Yoshinobu Yamamoto have been terrific. But after that, Bobby Miller has been hurt. Gavin Stone has been shaky, as has James Paxton. Emmett Sheehan has not pitched all year. And Clayton Kershaw and Dustin May also face rehab. So you're looking at 2 starters you think you can rely on. And to make room for Buehler in the roster, London Knack has been returned to the minors. Elsewhere in Dodgers news, it really blows my mind how often LA Times panic peddler Bill Plaschke is wrong. It blows my mind. I thank God that I fall asleep quickly, because if I didn't, I would literally lie awake and wonder how somebody who is guided solely on emotion instead of intellect could collect a check for his opinion. It was Plaschke who before the season wrote a column claiming that the Dodgers were making a season-ruining goof, a massive error, by switching Mookie Betts to shortstop. It was a bigger error than putting all of your money in FTX. So now there's a sports writer quorum on CBS, and they were asked, who's the best shortstop in baseball? 3 of the 4 said Mookie Betts. The only reason that the 4th didn't is because he said he would intentionally avoid Mookie Betts because he wanted diversity of opinion. So he chose Cincinnati's L.A. De La Cruz just to be a contrarian. So slow clap for Bill Plaschke. I swear to God, that dude is so emotional, his columns ought to be read over 1990 slow jams. Way too emotional for the room. Random Dodgers note for you. Shohei Ohtani is hitting just 184 with runners in scoring position. Drew Doughty was asked by the hockey scribes if the Kings were going to be good enough to ever advance in the playoffs. Quote, "We haven't proven that yet. I'm not gonna say no, but that's a tough question," unquote. In other words, he wasn't going to say no, but that's saying no. So the Twitter mob all day has been asking for a house cleaning in the front office. More like a fumigation. And I'm not trying to be mean, because I too am a Kings fan. But I have to paint a picture that you might not like. You can scream, "Buy out Pierre-Luc Dubois," or "Fire Rob Blake." But General Manager Blake has 1 more year left on his contract, and it is possible that ownership, and we'll get into ownership in just a moment because this ties into it, It's very possible that ownership will knock on Blake's door and say, look, the only reason you're not getting fired is we have to pay you if we do fire you for doing nothing. So you have 1 year to fix this mess or else. Now, do you expect Blake to then ask ownership, having been giving this ultimatum, knowing you're out on the ledge, do you expect Blake to then ask ownership to cut him a check for $16 million so he can get rid of Dubois? Do you? I don't. It's more likely he's going to say, damn, I better keep my mouth shut or I'm going to get fired on the spot. Which sounds more plausible to you in the real world? Now, you might say, well, they could trade Dubois, but look, there's just not a big market for players who are about to be chased out of their third town for lack of production, let alone a contract for $68 million and doesn't score. You gotta be real with the news. You just gotta. I understand wanting to get rid of them both, but you have to face reality. Now, I mentioned ownership a moment ago, and the reason that this matters is the Kings are like the LA Galaxy. They are both owned by the Anschutz Entertainment Group. When it comes to the front offices of those teams, AEG often looks for the simple way out. They hire a former player, probably a team legend, and they go, you know what? You figure it out. It took a 6-month supporter boycott to force the Galaxy to fire team president Chris Klein, despite 10 full years of incompetence. Hell, they even signed him to an extension. It took 6 months of not going to games. Now, I'm not saying Kings fans have to boycott games. I'm just saying don't be surprised if neither Blake or team president Luc Robitaille are held accountable yet. Now, the Kings will have cap space when the NHL season ends, but that $20 million isn't going to be enough to completely repair a decidedly imbalanced roster. They have 7 unrestricted free agents now that the season has ended. Arguably the most important player of the bunch is defenseman Matt Roy. Goalies Cam Talbot, Phoenix Copley, and Dave Rittich are also unrestricted free agents, as is Trevor Lewis. And the same for oft-injured forward Victor Arvidsson. Quinton Byfield, by the way, is a restricted free agent. You darn sure don't want to let that guy go, and he definitely has deserved a raise. But that is just to keep the status quo, not to repair the roster. And that's not current roster's not making anyone happy right now. USC and UCLA basketball were both declared winners of the portal, according to CBSSports.com. But I think we have to hit the pause button when it comes to USC. The Trojans added a player yesterday. We'll get to that in a moment. I think UCLA rebuilding itself on the fly and improving itself to be a so-called winner, absolutely. Absolutely. I think Kobe Johnson, who came from USC, is the type of player that Mick Cronin wishes for when he prays. Now, hopefully, when he does pray, I also hope he asks God for forgiveness for his bouts of inexplicable rage, but that's aside from the point. UCLA's rebuild, though, goes way beyond Johnson. Sky Clark was a blue-chip prospect. I believe compared to that discombobulated mess in Bruins jerseys last year, you could have as many as 4 new starters, all of them better than whatever was thrown out there last year. As for the Trojans, I give new coach Eric Musselman credit. He walked into Galen Center as if it were on fire. Because figuratively speaking, Galen Center was on fire. After Andy Enfield split for Dallas, and by the way, good luck getting anybody in Texas to care about SMU basketball, dude. All but 1 player abandoned ship. So Musselman has added 11 players. The latest is guard Desmond Claude of Xavier, who was named the Big East Conference's most improved player. His scoring average last year shot up from 4.7 points a game to 16.6. He is going to be your playmaking guard. Now, as for how all these 11 players fit together, it's way too premature. It is way too early for me to tell you what their depth chart looks like, how they're all going to fit together. I'm not suggesting the Trojans are going to stink. I am saying we need to let things settle and pause before we declare them winners of the portal. The LA Times is reporting Northern Arizona punter Brody Richter is transferring to UCLA football. This is surprising to me because I've driven through Flagstaff, Arizona numerous times. I'm very familiar with the Northern Arizona campus. I don't ever recall having seen a football stadium there. I don't. Richter's story, by the way, is also kind of hilarious. He never punted in high school. He walks on for poops and giggles at Northern Arizona, and now he's a punter at a Big Ten school? Really? Meanwhile, the Times also proposed some takeaways about the new look Bruins from spring football practice. One is more screens, more rollouts, all designed to protect the quarterback. The other is UCLA's offensive and defensive lines have the depth of a kiddie pool that you would see in a Walmart. I have met with very few big money people in my life, and they're all a little cringe. That's what they have in common. Can't wait to show you in certain ways how they are just bursting at the gills with Benjamins, and they're all a little cringe. But people put up with it because you need cash, right? I bring that up because UCLA Senior Associate Athletic Director Josh Rebholz, their chief fundraiser, resigned after being gonzo for several weeks. Now he's saying that he's leaving the school because this great job offer came up. But then the LA Times went out and they listed 3 or 4 controversies, including an accusation of sending explicit text messages to a cheerleader. Hi. So again, we don't know if it was strongly suggested you might want to check your LinkedIn because you're about to get run. We don't know, but a little cringe. Former USC offensive lineman Jason Zandamela is transferring to Florida. 24/7 Sports had him ranked as the top interior lineman available in the transfer portal. USC had designs on him playing center. He was the highest rated recruit in the Trojans class of 2024, but he didn't even play a snap. He is going back to the humid phallic symbol of North America in Florida. So I guess all I can say is some people just really love the feel of their underwear sticking to their ass. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Do you believe that the clock be a ticking for Darvin Ham? Do you think Walker Buehler actually will slot in nicely as a number 3 starter for the Dodgers? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are talking LA sports here every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow, unless of course Ham does get fired. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.